my science center that I created. I have physical science, earth science, life science, and the scientific process. So each unit has its own set of folders, and the students would come and they would grab the center and then they would work on it independently. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with the physical science. So this one is the vocabulary card for physical science, and students would work together in pairs, and they would grab a bag, and inside the bag they have all of the vocabulary terms and their definitions. So they could lay them out on the table and they would just work to match each term with its definition. So that's the first one. Classifying Object Center. So what students will do is they will have their card and then they have a bag of objects, and they would come and they would fill out the paper that has the object, the properties, and the length and the width. So for this one I have a paper clip. They would write paper clip, the properties of the paper clip, and then they would measure it with the ruler. So that's that center. And then this one is the solid to liquid observation center, and students would get a bowl and they would get a piece of ice and they would observe what they see happening to the ice as it melts. So they would write the time, they would draw a picture, and then a few minutes later they would write the time, draw a picture, and then they would answer these questions. And then the next center is a reading center, and they are all of the units have a reading center. So physical science, earth science, life science has a reading center. So for this one, they would read this book, What is the World Made of? And then once they read the book, they could work in pairs, they could read each page, they could switch off by page or paragraph, and then after they're done they would take an AR test, and if they score more than 80% then they can put a sticker on their assessment chart, which is listed on this. The earth science, there's a reading center as well, and the students would be reading the Lost in Space Magic School Bus, and it's the same idea as it was for the physical science. They read in partners, they could read in groups, and then they take their AR test. Then they put this back. Then we'll move down. There's a Creating Constellation Center. So the students will read the card, then they have a piece of dark colored paper. They can use crayons, they can use colored pencils and glue, and then they use the toothpicks to create the constellation on their paper. Then the next one, using the information that they have in their textbook or from the Magic School Bus book, they're going to create a planets flipbook. So the flipbook is already created, and all that they do is they create a cover page, and then each page underneath is for a specific planet. So they're going to write a detailed sentence, draw a picture, and then another detailed sentence, draw a picture for each planet in our solar system. And then the last one is the Vocabulary Center, and this one is different than the first Vocabulary Center in that students are playing a memory match game with the terms. So each term is in a picture form. They would turn them over, and then they have the terms, and then they would turn them over as well. And then as they're playing, they would look for the word, and then they would look for the picture, and if they get a match then they would keep it, and the person who has the most matches at the end of the game wins. And each student, after they're done playing, can put a sticker on their chart. So those are all of the centers for earth science. Okay, so now we're on to the Life Science Center, and for this one we have a Vocabulary Drawing Center. So what the students are doing with this one is they have all of their vocabulary terms on a piece of paper, and then they have note cards. So on one side of the note card is blank and the other side has lines. So on the side with lines, they're going to write the vocabulary term from their list, and then on the other side they're going to draw a picture explaining what that term is. So for example, they would write forest, and then on the other side they would draw a picture containing many trees, like a forest. And then the next one is the Life Science Postcard Center, and in this one what the students are doing is that they have a postcard and they're going to be writing a letter to a friend. So they would imagine that they're in a different environment, for example an ocean environment. They're going to explain to their friend what the ocean environment is like, and then on the other side they're going to draw a picture of that environment. And then once they're done and they've delivered it to their friend in the classroom, they can come up and put their sticker on their assessment chart. And the next one is a jellyfish in an ocean biome center. And what the students do here is they have a water bottle, and they're going to create a jellyfish with a plastic bag, and they're going to put the jellyfish inside the water bottle and then create their ocean biome. And then the last one is the reading center. Same for all of the reading centers. This one they're reading the Oceans book, and then they'll take their quiz, and then they can put a sticker on their chart. The final center that we have is the Scientific Process Center, and we'll work our way down again. For this one, the students are going to be doing an experiment deciding if camouflage will help animals in their environment. So each paper has questions that they need to answer. It has a chart for data, and then they have what they would use to do their experiment. So they have a green piece of paper, and then they have circles, and they're in different colors. So we have brown circles and green circles. Working in partners, the students are going to decide, they're going to pick up as many circles as they can in 10 seconds. Using their chart, they're going to decide if the camouflage really does help animals in their environment. The next center that we have is a penny experiment. So the students have the same type of papers and they need to fill in the same information, and this time they have penny droppers and pennies, and they're going to decide if changing the way that they drop the water onto the pennies will have an effect on how many drops of water will actually fit on a penny. So they'll do it with heads or tails, and they'll do it dropping it fast, dropping it slow, dropping it far away, dropping it really close, and then they will decide if it changes when they are dropping the water on the penny. The last one is kind of fun because the students actually create their own. They're going to decide, they're going to come up with their own question, they're going to create their own hypothesis and their own conclusion. And I've taken pictures of these, so I'll include them in the video so you can see them up close. And then the last one is using vocabulary terms and just doing a quick word search, filling in the terms after they find the definition. And then we can look up here, and then this is how I'm going to assess my students. Each column corresponds to the column on the board. So we have vocabulary on the bottom, vocabulary, we have the object center, and the object center. So each time that the center is completed, the student would have their own chart, and they would place their stickers on the chart once they've completed the center. And then that is how I will assess that they have completed each center. That is my whole center. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching.